All right, hello, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This is Mark Soberman with NetPicks and the Premier Trader University. Really excited to have all of you with us today. We've got a great presentation in store. Always exciting when we do a world premiere of something. We only really get this opportunity maybe once a year sometimes, maybe twice a year, but not too often. So we always get pretty exciting with that. So thanks for definitely joining us. Let me just say something real quick. I'm not sure who is, Brian, is that your mic or TJ? Is that you picking up the keyboard and whatnot? Just maybe you want to watch for that. All right, cool. So appreciate everybody joining us today for the presentation. I still see a bunch of people logging in, so I'm going to keep letting everybody kind of get in there before we start. Let me go ahead and at least bring up the slide here so you will see the visual. You can ask questions anytime, and we will have a full-on Q&A at the end of the presentation, but I also have some of the team working on the questions during the presentation as well. So we'll try to get those answered as best we can and kind of go from there. And I've got to get us going a little bit. We'll have a few polling questions so we can kind of try to personalize this presentation. We do these live. I know sometimes you guys attend webinars and things like that, and you kind of figure out as you go through them that they're just recordings that are being streamed. But in this case, this is the real deal. And I'm going to be joined by Troy Noonan here in a few moments. In fact, Troy, why don't you go ahead and say hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Really excited to show you what we got today.
Yeah, so Troy will be giving you all kinds of great information on the Trend Jumper. For me, the most exciting thing is I can't wait till we show you the system and actually the trades that were taken literally just Friday and today. You guys are going to be pretty excited once you see what's happening with the Premier Trader University's Trend Jumper system. It's really been something. So it's definitely worth spending a few moments with us here today to see what we have in store. So some of the things we're going to cover here today, as you can see in this video, obviously I shouldn't say this. This is obviously live. I can tell you right now it's, well, my time, it's 11:10 on November 12th. But why you should listen to us, what is the PTU Trend Jumper, who should trade the Trend Jumper demonstration, great bonuses, how to get started, and a Q&A. So a little bit of our history, as you know, we go way back. It's our 16th year, started in 1996, and really we're about to enter our 17th year overall. We've already talked about how we've worked with and trained thousands of traders from around the world. Again, think about how far back we go into the 90s. Over half of our install base is in the US, or outside the US, I should say. A little bit under half now is in the US, and that's changed dramatically since I started the company back in 1996. And right now we've got over 100 countries in our install base, which is exciting. We're all live traders. I personally trade the markets virtually every single day, certainly whenever I'm able to, and that goes right on down the line. And that's me in the top left, and Brian Short, my partner in NetPicks, in the bottom right there. We've been in a number of magazines at all the major international trading expos. And I think the fact that we've been doing this for as long as we have, almost 17 years, exposed to thousands of traders from around the world, we definitely know what causes success. We know what causes failure. We realize and acknowledge there's both in trading. We need to focus on both sides to make sure that we can get all of you successful. A lot of you know the team, since this is more of a family release of the Trend Jumper. You probably have interacted with some of these folks besides myself and Brian. Troy, top left, he's the developer of the Trend Jumper, and you'll be hearing a lot from him today. And of course, Will, our main programmer, and Mike, our stock and options guru, and Shane and Ron, our great support guy, and Bob. So this is just part of the team. And again, the yearbook here, the yearbook photos, every single person is a trader, and every single person joined NetPicks coming from your shoes right now. They were all in an audience, in a webinar, started with us, purchased the system, became profitable traders, and now are part of the team. So again, these aren't people that we just hire off the street. These are people that really do it, know what it takes, and do it every single day. Troy, who you'll be hearing from here, and you may know already, some of you in the live rooms and with the SST, he's been trading live in the markets since even before NetPicks was started, back to 1992. I called a live trade room with literally thousands of trades called in real time, not knowing what was going to happen next. These aren't curve fit optimized BS that you see out there. I mean, this guy had to call stuff live, and then whatever happened for 5 years, which is pretty amazing to do that successfully for that long. He authored and co-developed the 7 Summits Trader, which has been very successful for us. It's no longer available, but it was a great 2+ year run with the SST. The Ultimate Trade Analyzer, which a lot of you probably already use to analyze your trades and your back testing, he was the co-developer of, mentored just dozens, hundreds of different traders, has appeared at several international and national live training events, published author. You know, boy, Troy, this is a pretty good resume. You're trying to make me kind of feel a little inferior here. Guest speaker in Paris and the author of the PTU Trend Jumper trade system. So one thing that we found with systems in general is education was being left out. And even we had this challenge and this issue too. We focused a lot on producing great systems and basically giving you the system and in some ways saying good luck to you. And I guess we just didn't realize, it took me quite a few years to realize that we're leaving out one of the biggest things, which is how to get from the chart into your live account. And a lot of people were seeing the trades in the chart, and through a whole bunch of different things that were not going right or were going wrong, they weren't getting those live results or those actual results in their live account. So we saw the need for what we call an end-to-end solution. You have to have great training for everyday folks. So the system, the indicators, all that is important. I mean, you saw that in the survey, but you also have to know and have the training so you can actually successfully trade the markets and get the results that you guys want. You want those profits, you want that money, we all do. So that's why we created the Premier Trader University earlier in 2012. In the PTU curriculum, this is all about total training, top-level support, and multiple strategies, including the PTU Trend Jumper. So what is the PTU Trend Jumper? It's a dependable, high-frequency, high-action trading system for Forex and futures. You can scalp high-frequency profits without high risk. Okay, that's very important. There's always risk in trading, but the risk is really minimized with the Trend Jumper. It trades with just one simple, elegant chart: tick, range, and time-based charts. Another thing that's really super critical. A system can be powerful and good, but if it's difficult to trade, difficult to read, you will not have success. With Trend Jumper, that's the exact opposite. You're going to take profits quickly. You're going to get in, get out, and get done. That's always been a NetPicks mantra. We believe you shouldn't be into the markets, hours and hours on end. It's not healthy, and really, it's not that profitable. So this is all about getting in and out as quickly as possible. And talk about trading a number of markets. Some of these are probably your favorites. Probably many of these are your favorites. And this doesn't even begin to describe what you can potentially trade with the Trend Jumper. So S&P E-mini, Russell E-mini, Dow, NASDAQ, crude oil, all these different Forex pairs. It's very exciting what you can trade with that. So we've already talked about incredibly versatile, easy to use. You will have, like over half of you wanted, exact entries and exits. And it's true plug-and-play simplicity. You put it on the chart and you go. And Troy will be talking about that. It's all price action based. It self-adjusts to current live market conditions, which is very, very important, because the trading that happens in November 2012 doesn't mean it's going to be the same in March of 2013. You have to have a system and your systems that are dynamic to ever-evolving market conditions. So the way to think about it when you buy, which is what a long trade is, it's like jumping off of a trampoline for quick and reliable profits. And short trades, I like how TJ put this, it's more like jumping out of an airplane. So just think about the momentum in the other direction. That's what the Trend Jumper is all about. It's about taking from this one level and just taking advantage of this tremendous, quick, fast momentum, and those are where your profits happen. And you can use this, even though I say fast, it can be used for day trading, for swing trading, and even longer-term position trading. So when we say the word high frequency, we mean it's going to get you lots of opportunities even in swing trading. They're still going to move quicker than normal, which is for what, most of you, what you're looking for. So who should trade Trend Jumper? Serious beginners, intermediate to advanced traders. Really anybody on this call today absolutely should and is qualified to trade the Trend Jumper. Forex and futures, day trading and swing trading. Definitely people who are looking for action. I know that describes me. I don't like to wait around for hours on end with no trades. It drives me crazy. I like to have activity. Of course, I don't want action just for action's sake, right? I'm looking to make profits and money just like all of you, but I want high odds, high frequency trading. I mean, that fits me to a T. definitely simplicity, which you're going to see, and wanting to spend as little time as possible in the markets. Now, there's pros and cons to scalping. There's some real great advantages. Quick and reliable profits, minimizes exposure in the market, perfect for the busy person. You want to maybe live a little more and not trade as much. I know that you can definitely count me in that area. And scalping has some drawbacks, though, if done incorrectly. Many times people scalp with very bad risk to reward ratios. They risk 5 times as much as the tiny little scalp that they get. A string of winners then get easily wiped out with just a few losses. I mean, what's the fun of that? So the great thing about scalping the trend jumper style is that's not going to happen. So we give you all the benefits you just saw, but neutralize the dangers. Immediately with trend jumper, you see the support and resistance areas are identified, and then what happens? What are you going to do? You're going to jump off the trampoline for the buy and go ahead and you're going to skydive off of that plane for the short. Fast and reliable, high percentage targets. You're going to utilize a unique, simple, very dynamic way of determining what we call trade profiles, making sure that you have a very positive reward risk on every trade. If you have losses, which you will, this is trading, we all have losses, they can quickly be wiped out. You can minimize the losses. In some cases, what you're going to see, it's amazing just how good the win-loss percentage is, but you're always going to feel confident that even if a loss or two happen, you can quickly get back on the right side of the ledger with the trend jumper because, again, you're not waiting for trades to come up. So this becomes more than just a scalp trade. You have the ability to turn trades into big home run trades because not only do you have the opportunity to scalp, you also have the opportunity to trail. We catch some huge winning trades even with this high frequency scalping approach. Take a look at some of these results. So let's start with crude oil futures. Morning session, right? So nice and easy. Just since October 1st, okay? $12.45 in this case, which equates to $12,450. And past months, we've shown very, very similar results. In fact, since October 1st, there has not been a single losing trading day. Absolutely, there's been losing trades. Nobody's saying there haven't been losing trades. But due to the high frequency, if I start with a loser, if I start with a second loser, I know the odds are super high that trade 3, 4, and 5 will be profitable. Or I may just right out of the gate hit the winning trade. And since October 1st, here we are November 12th, yet to have a losing session. And I don't even mind a losing session here and there. That's fine, right? Because we know the majority are going to be positive. But if I can literally run off a streak like this, how high is your confidence going to be waking up every morning and trading the trend jumper on these kind of markets? And November is no different. Continues the winning ways, no losing sessions. That's dependable. The PM session, maybe the morning's not good for you. There's not quite as much movement in the afternoon. But hey, by the way, over $5,000 on one, I should say on 2 contracts on crude oil futures since October 1st. So still, even if your schedule doesn't permit, it just shows you the potential on just one market. I mean, we're going to cover some others here, but this is just one market. Troy, maybe tell us a little bit just what happened on Friday.
Yeah. I've been showing the trend jumper a lot, Mark, over the last few weeks, obviously on the road show, and my whole approach has been, let's just see what it did today. I mean, this is where we're at. This is real trading, right edge of the chart. And so I knew we were having this presentation today, so I marked up the chart from Friday's session, and I kind of color coded everything. There's just so much going on in here that I could have just shown the one and done, and that's kind of how we trade the PM, and you could see it in blue. It literally was a 12-minute trade and made 25 cents on the first position, and then the second position scaled out a little bit on top of that, but the whole trade was, pretty darn profitable for 12 minutes. But some traders want to trade more. They like the, what we call power of quitting 2 winners, and some just want to trade for a duration of time. I know people right now trading the trend jumper, and they have so much confidence in it, and it's so effective for them that they just start at their start time and finish at their finish time and take every single trade. And so I thought, well, here's a 90-minute window in the PM session. Let's look at all these trades. And there literally were 9 winners, and I can't read that because it's small on my screen. 9 winners and 2 losses. Yeah, there were 11 trades. Some of those, the ones you circled in white, were optional positions that you can literally use to build your position as you're as a target, as the price goes towards your target. I mean, this is really great for putting on add-on trades. And you don't have to, but I've just found that they're so profitable, especially on Forex. When I show you the Forex, you're going to definitely want to think about those add-on trades. But that's what's going on in this chart. Just a lot of trades, and most of them winning.
Yeah, thanks, Troy. And I think the key is the opportunities in just the first 12 minutes, being able to be done at that point, and you can trade multiple contracts. Don't forget, it's so easy to scale in trading. People always forget that. They think to make more money, to trade many more markets or spend much more time in the market, and you don't. You just need to grow your equity and then give yourself the permission to trade some more markets. Let's talk about the Russell E-mini. Also had an amazing run. Just from October until today, it's posted 63 points, which if you're familiar, that's $100 per point. It's, in this case, 630 ticks. So it's $6,310. And unlike the crude oil, oh no, it had a couple losing sessions, but almost 90% of the sessions have been profitable. So again, every time you start to trade this market with the trend jumper, you have an 89% chance of this day working out. I'll take those odds anytime. And it's so flexible, you can trade, like we mentioned, any time of the day. We also looked at, in this case, a later Russell, like a later session, kind of a session 2. And since mid-September, again, a little less movement as you get a little bit later in the session, but still tremendous opportunity. So the idea is you can really make this conform to the time of day or even night, depending upon where you're located, with a variety of different markets. And it's not just the Russell E-mini. The Dow E-mini, which is the YM, the S&P E-mini, which is the ES, the NASDAQ E-mini, which is the NQ. You like one of those better? You prefer one of those? Not a problem. Same strategy, same approach. And what a lot of people don't think about are all the other amazing opportunities in some of those unheralded markets like wheat, heating oil. Unleaded gas is amazing. The DAX futures, the Eurobond. So just this last week alone, each one of those markets that I just mentioned saw no losing sessions. Yes, some losing trades, but the bottom line each and every day was a positive session, minimal trades, small risk. Troy, tell us a little bit about this Russell E-mini on Friday.
Yeah, again, the real movement we saw in the PM session, and that's what I was showing you here. Again, a one and done. The trade literally took 3 minutes. And again, there were more trades to follow if anyone were interested. And you'll notice that all the trades look exactly the same, except for the different colors. But regardless of the color, it's because all the trades are the same. I mean, we're not changing one thing, and every single setup is the exact same formula, basically.
Yeah, and I think that's important. We just showed crude, we just showed Russell. We're going to show some Forex and some other markets. Notice the structure is always the same. You learn one system, and you can trade any of these markets with success. Here's the DAX, right? I mean, this is, again, Friday morning, European time. Looks a lot like your Russell chart, right? I think if you hid that this was the DAX, wouldn't somebody be able to trade this market just as successfully, Troy?
Yeah, I mean, if the market's moving, then Trend Jumper is going to have you jumping in and out of really great setups because that's really all it needs. I mean, buyers and sellers, bars on a chart, and that's all I'm really looking for.
And I think the frequency too, right? I mean, this is all happening quickly. You can see there's numerous setups. The structure, just so people know, and when Troy goes to the live chart here in a moment, he'll talk about this a little bit more, but the little plus sign, that's the exact entry price. And these are just projected targets, and we have some rules of which target to use, and the guy up here is your stop. So remember, over half of you wanted precise entry and exit. I mean, I don't know if you get any more precise than this. It is on your chart for you. All you have to do is execute what's on the chart. The Dow E-mini is a big favorite of a lot of people. I think this is the same exact situation here. Flip it around, right? This is the trampoline. This is to the upside, and even like Troy mentioned, you've got the opportunity for what we call a power of quitting. If you want a second winner, right, you can come right back with the short there. I think this is a good example. I want you to talk about this one, Troy, just real briefly here on the S&P mini, because we want to make it clear. Sometimes you do start with some losses, but high frequency trading, what's the secret? What happens after?
Yeah, that's it's hard for beginning traders to reconcile that, there's no way to be 100% perfect with all winners. It doesn't exist, and if it did, none of us would be here because it would be illegal anyway. So the winning formula is, you put the odds on your side, and then you trade with small risk so that you let the odds work in your favor. They swing back around, and then you find your chance to quit positive, and you grow your account on a steady basis, session after session. That's how money is made as traders. And here was a session on the S&P where the first 2 trades were losses, and 1 or 2 losses in a session. We've learned this over and over again. It doesn't matter what strategy you use. It's just going to happen. It's part of trading. But it doesn't matter because we're still profiting, and that's why we're trading, is to profit. And you can see that clearly in this chart.
Thank you, Troy. Now, Forex, I know a lot of you are big Forex fans, right? 2 out of 3. These are swing trading Forex. This is off the daily chart, so you couldn't get any easier than the daily chart because you just come in once every 24 hours and look at the chart. And you can see the pairs that we have put together the results for you. It's all kinds of great pairs. In fact, a lot of times people think, oh, it's got to be just the Euro-US. We're here to tell you that some of the best profitable opportunities come in some pairs you may not even typically consider. I mean, I don't know how many you consider the Euro-New Zealand, but you may now, with over 5,000 pips so far in 2012. The pound Aussie, over 3,000 pips. The pound yen, which has been a favorite of people over the years, over 3,000 pips. Not every market's going to perform at that level. Here's the New Zealand CAD, 400 pips. But the beauty of trading trend jumper with Forex on a swing trade is the fact that it's easy enough that you can trade multiple markets, so you don't have to go into every session every month knowing that, oh, the top market's going to be the Euro Yen. You know what? Trade all of these. Mix around, the where you're at, and then you don't have to get into the business of trying to pick what's going to win the next 12 months. Because if you traded all of these, think about what your average would be per pair. I don't know what it would be exactly. I haven't added up. It's probably over 2,000, 2,500 pips per pair. And I don't even have to pick which one's going to be hot over the next 12 months. Take a look a little bit here. Troy will explain to you a bit of what you're seeing on the Euro-US on swing trades.
Yeah, this is the last several months, and you could even see a trade just triggered in on the far right. And we could even look and see how it's doing today. I'm in that trade. I'm taking all the Forex swing trades that pop up. I'm following like 24 different charts. And the reason why is because, first of all, with end of day, like Mark said, I get to come in once a day, spend a little time with my charts, and that's it. And then I don't have to think about it until tomorrow. And if each pair is giving me anywhere from 1 to 3 trades a month, if I've got a dozen pairs or more, then I could be as active as I want to be and also enjoy the power of diversification, like Mark was saying. So it doesn't matter if the Euro-US was a poor performer for much of the year, because when it starts performing again, which you could see in the last few months it has, then I'll be in that trade and I'll be taking advantage of it, and I'll have all the other pairs supporting one another because everything operates at a different, at its own cadence, or it dances its own rhythm. So diversification is really key, and you could get that with these daily charts with Forex.
And that's the secret. That's the secret to successfully and profitably trading the Forex, in particular on a swing trade basis, is not focusing in on just one market and having to rely exclusively on one pair. I mean, that's kind of, I think, really the magic of this is the fact that basing this on the dailies makes that whole responsibility for everybody fairly easy. And the cool thing I like about this too is, again, if I was to cross out that this is the Euro-US dollar, right? We don't know that this is the Euro-US dollar. This looks just like the DAX chart, just like the Dow E-mini. Just keep remembering that as far as learning curve goes. This is not going to be a difficult challenge for all of you because each market's the same as we go through it. The pound US, right, Troy? Go ahead, Troy, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you're showing this one. One thing I want to just reiterate is with all these Forex pairs, I haven't changed one setting. It's the identical calculator, the identical settings, the identical everything. So earlier when you said just put it on your chart and go, I mean, that's basically what we're doing here. You're going to get these amazing moves in just about every pair. Most pairs are going to give you 2 to 3 monster moves in a year with a daily chart. Okay, now you could reduce that down to a 15-minute chart or an hourly chart, and then you're going to get, a few big moves within, proportionally the same time range, if you can kind of follow my line of thought here. But with the dailies, you know you're going to get 2 or 3 really strong trending moves, because Forex moves like a big ocean liner, and it takes a long time for it to slow down and ultimately change direction. And so on the left, you could take advantage of the huge trend and continually build your position all the way up. And each one of those individual trades within the trade, so to speak, if all those trades are one big trade, but you have various entry and exit points, remember, you have plenty of time to think it through because they're daily charts, but each one of those has self-contained risk, and the risk-reward ratio is like 2 to 1. I mean, it literally is 2 to 1 on each one of those positions.
Yeah, so I think this is probably a great time, Troy, to bring up some live charts, and you talk us through some more examples about the trend jumper.
Okay, great. Let me grab my monitor here and just let me know when you see it.
Yeah, it's good. I see a whole bunch of moving charts.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just follow a bunch of random charts as part of my means of just staying on top of how robust the strategy is. And these are the charts I'm following. Now, of course, today was a U.S. holiday, so I wasn't really interested in any of the E-minis, but there were so many great markets that I was interested in and that I was actually trading this morning, starting with, probably one of the best markets of all right now for day trading, crude oil. And this is obviously Friday, so let's just look at today. I mean, that's kind of the way I've been doing it, so let's do it again. We started 850. And 850 is right there. And as I show you these trades, I'll explain to you exactly how this works. Okay, so you see the green dotted line? That's called the jump line. Okay, it's similar to the SST trigger line, not identical, but similar. But it works the same as far as how we determine trade directions. If you see a plus sign below the green dotted line, then that's an entry. And every trade is going to be a short trade. It will never be a long trade. So very easy. You instantly know what direction you're going to take the trade. Here are the targets. Here's a stop. We're either going to go to the middle or the third target. And in crude oil, there's a very specific plan. In this particular trade, we're going to the middle target. And, the market's really slow. It's a holiday. There is a chance to add to your position here. That's an optional trade for advanced traders. You'll notice that both those trades end up winning. The one I counted was obviously the first trade right there. Look how accurate the target is. Sometimes it's just so accurate you wish it would at least go 1 or tick further. But I actually got filled at my target on that and got lucky there, but that was a full winner for trade number 1 on a holiday session. Okay, and the next trade, actually the trailer stopped out, and then the next trade was this one. It popped in and then stopped and reversed right here. The stop and reverse is fairly uncommon, but it does happen once in a while. Usually it's good though, because the stop was up here. This had me getting long here, and so I actually lost less and then hit my target, in this case the third target, again because of the rules we teach. And if you're just trading one position, you would have won 2 out of 3 and you would have been very positive, but a trailer would have brought you all the way up to here. And these 3 trades made over 40 cents in profits, $400 on a slow holiday session. And notice that, the plus sign above the jump line meant we went long. So even though there's different colors and we teach you why in training, all the setups are the same. So it really doesn't matter. You don't even need to know that if you don't want to. And when you click on the setup bar, look over here. The calculator gives you the entire trade. So the numbers are laid out in the same direction as the dots. So down below, the dot, that's your stop. Here's your stop. The next dot or plus sign is your entry, and then your target. So when your eye goes over to the data window, you could quickly and easily see the trade setup, and all you have to do is click on the bar. And of course, we teach you how to use these tools to trail. Very simple. And if I show you this, if I show you any other market, it's always going to be identical. So let's look at the exact same everything, only we'll just change the symbol. Let's look at heating oil. Heating oil is one of my favorite day trade markets. One and done, that's typically my approach. And it starts at 9 o'clock. So let's find 9 o'clock. Right there. Well, look what happens. 1 bar later, you get a short trade. The plus sign is below the jump line, the green dotted line. So you know you're going short. Well, guess what? It doesn't even trigger in. It misses and avoids a losing trade. You're going to see a lot of that. Okay, so the next trade is a long trade. It happens just a few moments later. And that one does trigger in. We go to the third target. Boom. No problem. Look at the trailer all the way up to here. This one trade literally took 5 minutes. And that trade at $4.20 a tick for the 2 positions made over 90 ticks, over $400. 5 minutes of trading. Is anyone excited about that? I mean, I am. I haven't been able to find a losing session in heating oil over the last multitude of sessions. It just continues to trade like this. I love this market. And you know, I call this the sister market, unleaded. Unleaded, same thing. We started at 9 o'clock. Took a while for the first trade to come. Finally came 38 minutes later. And that one, look at the stop. It's right here. You see it? It did take a little heat, but that stop is well placed. It ultimately hit its full target right there. And look at the trailer all the way up to here. That was over 200 ticks of profit. Basically an $800 and something cents or $800+ trade. And that one only took from 9:38 to 10:11. You know, 30-minute trade. But is that worth $800? And basically that's it for me. I mean, it's a holiday session. I really don't have high expectations. I want to get the one and done as often as I can. And those were 3 great trades. But for those who like the grains, I really love trading wheat. I've had great success with the SST, but Trend Jumper also starting right at 9:30. Had a beautiful trade, 9:29, 9:30. You can take that trade right there, get in sync with the setup. It triggers in right here, no problem getting to full target. Another one and done session. You know, the trailer comes off for a little less, but ultimately a really great profitable trade. But you could still see there's a lot more if you want to just keep trading. I mean, the Trend Jumper will put you in the moves. I mean, was this a profitable session or what? And, you know, that's it. I mean, there's not really anything more to teach you with Trend Jumper except some of the rules of the system, which, of course, we teach when you get the system. But what I've shown you, it's basically that's just what it looks like. I mean, let's look at Forex because there's some good trades that just triggered in. This is one of the workspaces I use. I have another one with a bunch of other pairs. The Euro US is, can I find it? There it is.
There it is.
This was a trade we just showed, and this trade is well on its way. But what you need to know about this trade is that this is actually an add-on to this prior trade. This prior trade triggered in on the 1st of November, and it literally took 2 days to get to its full target, the third target, 112 pips. I mean, I checked it, I placed my order, came in the next day, moved my stop because of it getting to a certain level, took the risk off the trade. The very next day, full target, and now I'm trailing, but here I added to my position. So now I'm trailing this, already got my full target, and I'm in a new position all at the same time. And that's pretty much how I do Forex. And it doesn't matter which chart we look at, it's going to be the identical approach. Here's another one that just got triggered in. And this one I actually got filled on this morning. And look at it where it's at already. And this one is an add-on to this one, which is an add-on to that one. This whole series here, well, you can see 2 full targets. Boom, boom, trailing both. And now this one already getting to a risk-free position And I'll move both my stops to risk-free now because I've got so much profit already locked in with those other two. It's just all gravy. I'm in these positions with absolutely no risk. I mean, if you're not excited by that, I don't know. I don't know how to get you excited. I don't know, Mark. Anything you want to see specifically, or what do you think?
No, I think that's great. I mean, I think every time I see this, I get like that trading adrenaline rush because, I mean, obviously I've been doing this for 17 years. I mean, I love to trade. I'm passionate about it. I know you are as well. And this is just so darn exciting to see looking at unleaded gas, it's high volatile, high moving market, and then porting it on over to Forex on a daily chart and everything visually. I hope for the people watching can see how similar everything is. And every time you show me a chart, you can just see the consistency. I mean, with the moves. So it's great. I mean, the whole thing's exciting. Let me go ahead and I'll grab it back, and we can always show some more charts if we get to the questions in case anybody wants to see anything specifically. So give me one sec. Yeah. All right. Show my screen. Okay, so appreciate that, Troy. So let's kind of go on with a little bit more information. We got this in just, I think, last week from Randy, and he was talking about he was introduced to NetPicks by a friend, and we appreciate that. Referrals are awesome. We get lots of them. Spent a few months learning SST, grew his IRA by 25%, and he was invited to be one of our beta testers in the trend jumper. And the key here, which I now trade with full-time, and I'm more than pleased with the consistent profits from the system. In just 8 months since I joined NetPicks, I am now on track to achieve my dreams and trade full-time, which I know for a lot of you is what you're looking to do in the next 2 months with someone else's funds. So even cooler for him is we've set him up in a situation where he's able to use somebody else's funds to trade and trade full-time. So very exciting. He says, you're set for life if he can get into this, part of the percentage success. So really appreciate that to Randy, and just wanted you guys to see that. Something very similar from Brad, also doing the same thing. He's trading, in this case, the S&P Mini, and you can see he's got 80% successful days. He's kind of given us his exact results. He's been updating us every day and doing just extremely well. And he's so excited and positive because, again, the same story that we're telling you is day in and day out, you come in with the odds just overwhelmingly in your favor that you'll be successful on the day. It's never 100%, though. Obviously, in crude in some markets, it has been lately. But the idea is if you can come in 4 out of 5 days and know that you should end on the positive side of the ledger, I mean, just think of what that's going to do for your confidence and probably even more important for your trade account. So what do you get when you go ahead and join the Premier Trader University Trend Jumper? Well, you get every piece of the system we've shown you, the software, the indicators, and the calculator. And when we say calculator, we don't mean that thing that sits on your desk. We mean what Troy was showing you that showed you the exact entry price, stops, and targets. And like Troy mentioned, even if you don't know all the rules, you could trade the system. It's better to know the rules because you want to know some of the nuances and you want to know the best times of day and night to trade these markets. And you want to know when you should trail and when a trade is canceled, because there are some things that you want to know. But the awesome thing is the calculator knows all the rules and keeps track of everything as we go. So most of the work is done for you. Your job is to execute the trade plans. I mean, that is your responsibility. And the neat thing about that is it takes away so much of the stress and pressure that most of you probably experience in your day-to-day trading. We give you start to finish video training. TJ's carefully gone through the entire system. He built this from scratch, so he teaches you how to start. But you already see it's not difficult. It's not highly challenging. But we wanted to make sure when we ship you the course that you have the entire training laid out for you and to reference back. Now, I'm a big believer in as much as we teach you on CDs and video and we ship you the course, the best way to really have everything finally sink in is to come to our live training rooms. We're doing those twice a week with the Trend Jumper. So literally as the markets tick, Forex, futures, RB, CL, S&P, whatever, you're going to be learning and trading right along with us. That is the best way to make sure that everything gets reinforced, and you'll know with a 100% confidence that you'll be able to go ahead and replicate exactly what's happening on the chart in your live account. Plus, when you're not sure about something, not have to wait for an answer. I mean, the best way to ask a question is when a trade's happening right now. and you'll have that opportunity twice a week in our live room. Over the shoulder, we take you by the hand. You'll be able to master this. We give you 30 days access to our Owners Club, which includes the live market training room twice a week, all the trade plans. So we've shown you just maybe, I don't know, we probably already showed you about a dozen different markets, but there's more than that. And remember, you only need one to be successful, right? You could just trade wheat futures. I know that sounds kind of crazy. Most people don't think about it, but just wheat alone can provide that income you're after. But whatever market or markets you choose, you'll have exact trade plans, meaning, these are the markets to trade, the times of day to trade, the approach you should take. We do a lot of interactivity like this. We do Q&A calls. We want to make sure that you guys, however you like to learn, we're going to present the information to you in that way. In addition, the Owners Club is all about archiving. So we'll record the live rooms and save them. Maybe the time of day that we do it isn't good for you. You're somewhere else in the world. Just come back in later and watch it on replay. Watch it quickly. Skip parts that you don't apply to you. Whatever the case may be, this becomes this incredible library of trading tutorials. You get the first full month free. After that, it's just $177 a month, and you can cancel anytime if it's working for you and you're loving the Owners Club. Great. If you're not, remember, you have lifetime ownership of the trading system, so you can. This is completely an optional part of it. I also wanted to mention to you, if you're willing to go with use TradeStation, the platform we showed you, which is excellent, and you go ahead and you trade with them, they'll actually reimburse you the entire tuition fee for Trend Jumper just through your trading. So over time, they'll be reimbursing you. We call that the TradeStation Scholarship Program. So when we start talking price here in a moment, just keep this in the back of your mind that they literally will pay you to trade, meaning they will pay you as you trade and reimburse your entire tuition. Plus, you can get up to 6 months for free of the platform and even more commission rebate. So that's pretty amazing overall. Everybody here clearly is eligible for that as well. So I'm also going to throw in free upgraded worldwide shipping. So we have a very much an international audience. Whatever country you're in, there's no upcharges on that. We're going to go ahead and ship Trend Jumper to you at no charge. And we have the best support in the business. Email, phone. We'll take over your system to install indicators, whatever it takes. I've got an entire team. It's not outsourced. It's real people, real traders who are intimately familiar with the trading system. One of the greatest bonuses, if you're one of the first 25 today, and there's a bunch of you on this call, and there will be way more than 25 sold here in just a few minutes, we're including our boot camp. And the boot camp is preloaded into the Owners Club, and you can access it immediately. And this is an online video course put together by my coaching team, and it covers all kinds of crucial topics. Some of you may know some of this, some of you may know very little of it, but trading mechanics, order types, trade psychology, how to handle news, how to handle economic reports, risk management, position sizing, setting up your trade desk. I mean, things, fundamentals that you have to know. Really amazing trading, several hours of video-based training put together by people who actually do it, right? Not professors of trading, actual real-life traders. So the boot camp goes to the first 25. Initially, obviously, pricing that we were talking about was $1,900. We were thinking right around that $2,000 price point. But we always like to debut something, and in this case to our family, at the lowest price possible. So you're not going to pay $1,900 or $1,700, not even $1,500. So this is the really exciting news. First ever release price for the PTU Trend Jumper system, all in. You're going to pay just one payment of $1,297, and you own it for life. There's no forced recurring payments, no monthly charges. You can stay on the Owners Club optionally. You already get a free month as it is, so that becomes a total option for you. You're one and done. And Troy showed you literally on Friday, you paid for the system, right? Between Friday and Monday on a couple of these, which is pretty amazing when you think about it overall as far as the investment goes. So we've got the bonus for the first 25. To expand it a little bit, for the first 75, I wanted to add some extras. I'm going to give you a private 1-hour coaching call with one member of our coaching team. You can take that call whenever you want. Maybe you're about to go live. Maybe you want them to review your trades from last week. Whatever you want to use it for, we're here for you, personal one-on-one. I'm going to add an extra month in the Owners Club, so you're going to get all those additional live rooms. That's $177 value on top of the coaching call, the $250 value. And I'm going to give you, because you're all part of the NetPicks family, this is a private release, a $300 instant family rebate off of the price I already showed you. So take that $1,297 and slash an additional $300 off of it. The overall bonus of the first 75 anyway, $727. So you have to go quick, you have to act now, because literally we have many, many, many more people in here, as you can imagine, than the 25 and the 75. But it's a one-time, one payment of $997, and you literally will own the Trend Jumper for life. So how to get started, how to be one of the first 25, type the URL into your browser, premiertraderuniversity.com/TJ. All right, so I think we should have the links here. I think Corey's sending me. Let me just kind of put this out for you. Okay. Don't try to click the link above. You must type it into your browser. All right, so premiertraderuniversity.com/TJ for Trend Jumper. I don't know if there's if it's a coincidence that we call Troy TJ. So Mr. Trend Jumper, he is. So premiertraderuniversity.tj or /TJ, I should say. I want to also talk about, and I want to answer all your questions, the 45-day money-back guarantee. So there is no risk. There's no risk because you've already seen the system performing live, especially if you've been watching this for the last couple of weeks. Troy has posted numerous live trades as they're happening. But you can try the PTU Trend Jumper for 45 days, install the software, watch the video training. This is what we're asking you. You know, you got to just go through the paces, right? I mean, don't do this if you're not going to learn it and take trades. But you can take live trades, take demo trades. Just show us that you followed along and you did 25 trades. If for whatever reason you're saying, hey, these results aren't for me, the system's not for me, you can send back the system and we'll give you a full and complete refund. For 45 days, it's total risk-free. Your only obligation is put it through its paces. And I'm sure that's what all of you are going to do if you certainly work with the Premier Trader University Trend Jumper. So how to get started again, be one of the first 25. There's the URL and the link, and that's how we will get going. So what I want to do now, Troy, is let's switch into some questions for people. I'm going to give people a chance to be one of the first 25. Like I said, as we're going through these, if you're ready to go, take advantage, because there's also a great bonus, remember, for the first 75 as well. So just definitely be sure you take advantage of that. And let me start with some questions, and I'm going to give some of these to Troy as we go here. Okay, so one question, I think this was answered early, but it's probably going to come up a little bit. So is Trend Jumper only for scalping? So Troy, how would you answer that?
No, I wouldn't say it's only for scalping because it's dynamic. It's adjusting to current market conditions, and some trades will be bigger than others, and you could always put it on slower time frames too. I mean, you saw the end of day charts with Forex. Is 112 pip trade a scalp? I guess it becomes a matter of who's defining what a scalp is, but it's an excellent scalping strategy because it could get you in and out of some really fast trades. But when you combine a trailer, when you combine the add-ons, when you build up your position, depending on the markets too, it's probably a lot more than just a scalping strategy.
Definitely. Robert's asking, is Trend Jumper suitable for the Asian session when liquidity is lower?
I think it's worth looking at. You just got to be careful that there's enough liquidity. I mean, if the market's moving, I find that Trend Jumper gives you a chance to quit positive typically most of the time. So I haven't looked at the Asian session per se, but I wouldn't be afraid to look at it. I think it would probably work.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit slower. I can tell you that since I have traded through Asian session. The other thing to keep in mind is typically the daily charts tend to end of day U.S. session. Depends on your broker on how you're charting, but a lot of times you can go ahead and your action items can be done during the Asian session if you're swing trading on the Forex side. Here's a question from Joe talking about differences between Trend Jumper and let's say in this case for PTU. I did want to point out something that's very important. If you're ready to move into down the road the full Premier Trader University, where we also include Trend Jumper inside of the university, we're going to allow you to apply 100% of the, in this case, the $997 towards your PTU tuition. So if you also want all the additional Premier Trader University training, the PTU 2.0 system, we have some advanced Trend Jumper things that are going to be available. The great thing is, don't worry about that. If you're ready to jump into that end of the week, a month from now, 6 months from now, the tuition that you've put forward today applies 100% towards the actual PTU school. So I think that's really a great thing. So you don't have to make that decision or worry about that. Go ahead and get started with the trend jumper, and at any time you're ready, you can go ahead and add to that if you want to get into stock and options and things of that nature that we cover in detail in the university. That would be the perfect opportunity. Platforms that the Trend Jumper works on today are TradeStation. And remember, if you are on TradeStation already, we have a way to do it. And if you're not, I've just told you that you can get the platform for free. It's an amazing platform, and you can actually have them reimburse you for your entire purchase price today of the Trend Jumper, just by as you start to trade through a rebate, basically, that will go into your account. Also, NinjaTrader, which we're fully compatible on, amazing platform as well. So if you prefer NinjaTrader and any of the numerous brokers that NinjaTrader connects to, then that's a great choice as well. So TradeStation or NinjaTrader, 100% compatible, ready to go. William was asking, Troy, the Forex results using 2 positions with a trailer, and what is a typical stop on a Forex trade? I assume this is on the swing trades on the Forex.
Yeah, good questions. It is 2 positions. It's also every single add-on trade as well. So, I mean, I was just taking all the setups, and that's how I like to trade Forex, because of the flexibility you can get with how you can place your trades and tailor-make your position sizing. The average loss, let me just grab some info here, and I'll answer that in a moment. Go ahead. It's obviously, it's a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio, so that's something to always keep in mind. But maybe 15 to, well, you know what? I don't know. I have to look. I don't want to just shoot from the hip, but it's definitely 50% of the average win. So.
Yeah, so if you're going for, let's say your target on a swing trade is 150 pips, you're basically looking at a risk of 75 in that case, give or take, out of the box.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Dan says, okay, is there a live trading room to show how to make the trades? Yeah, Dan, I know that was probably asked a little bit earlier. So twice a week, come in. Troy's the one typically doing that, or our coaching team. So, you're going to learn from the Trend Jumper masters in this case. So absolutely. That's going to be available to you for sure. How are trades handled during news and reporting items? So that's part of the training that we take you through. And it depends a little bit if we're talking, swing trading or day trading, but we do teach you something that's called, you may be familiar with red rated reports, and typically 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after with some modifications. We don't take new entries, though we'll hold trades through economic reports, right around key reports and only key reports. We just won't initiate a brand new position. Same goes on swing trading. So we definitely make that part of the training, and it's a good point because we've done so many studies and done thousands of trades during and around news and kind of really figured out what's best overall. Let me see what else we have here. Will you be showing a stock example as well? We're focusing on active trading with Forex and futures inside the university. Like I mentioned, if you want to go on and do things with stocks and options, then that would be, kind of continuing on with the PTU. You also, we're not going to limit you when we send you the system and all the indicators. Nothing prevents you from looking at Apple and Google and everything else, and I think you're going to be very, very pleased. But the training that we're focusing on in Trend Jumper here with this release is going to be Forex and futures. Question, talking about margin needed for Forex pairs and risk. I mean, just, I don't know, maybe briefly, Troy, talk a little bit about what you kind of consider, risk per trade, whether, on Forex swing trading in particular, maybe.
Yeah, I never want to risk more than 2% per trade. So, depending on how much capital you have available, you would want to determine whether you're supposed, you should be trading micros or minis or full-size lots. And what's great is you can look at the trade and you can see what the risk is because you see where the entry is, you see where the stop is. And, if you have a small account, you could trade this. You just trade with smaller lot sizes and just let it build up over time. Think like a business person and let your business ramp up. But, yeah, keep it at 2%. It's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, and I've said this a lot recently, so I hate to repeat it because I'm sure some of you have heard it, but it's the first 90 to 180 days that are going to matter. You get through the first 90 to 180, that is when compounding will kick in. That's when your account will grow to a point that you'll be able to add position sizes to what you do, that you'll be able to take bigger positions. You'll have obviously total confidence by then as well. And when you look at like our business development spreadsheets, it's unbelievable what happens after the first 6 months and after year one and after year two and year three. It's just in the beginning, people just need to be a little bit patient with it. But again, we're showing you something where you have that high odds of success, the high percentage sessions that are profitable. This system does a great job of digging itself out. So markets start a little choppy early. And, we even get caught in some chop, which happens. It's really neat to see how often the trend jumper will dig out of that. And, we'll provide, circuit breakers and some rules for you as well, because, we don't want you to dig a hole too much. But at the same time, we have such confidence in the system that we kind of let it do its work. Even if, we don't start great, we typically expect to end great. Let me see what else we've got here. Brandon's asking, so different trade plans are necessary for different markets and trade plans. I mean, Brandon, the answer on that is what Troy mentioned, which is probably one of the most amazing things about the trend jumper, is like when he showed you all those Forex markets, I don't know, there was 12 or 15 listed, everything was identical on settings. Nothing was changed, optimized, curve fitted, or anything like that. But when you trade, for instance, the S&P mini versus crude oil versus, gold versus whatever else, there are different start times that are better. And we've learned it can make a huge difference, really. You wouldn't believe it sometimes, but starting at 8:50 New York versus 9 or vice versa can sometimes make a 50% difference in your results. So those are things that we will cover. I think what Troy's been trying to explain is that, with the level of success and how dynamic the trend jumper is, it's interesting how often we can even break our rules a little bit, which I'm not recommending, but we can, and still do just fine. Linda's asking TJ, she goes, it's difficult to learn how to notice avoided losers. So maybe she's talking about like when to know about canceling a trade, perhaps?
Well, there's some very simple rules. I mean, really simple. And of course, we teach that with the training. Do you want me to explain it now?
No,
or, I mean,
no, that's fine. I think the key is that one thing that you showed a little bit was, sorry, I was just getting a message from Corey. Okay, we're out of the boot camps. All right, so we may, we're past the 25. I'll tell you what, we're going to go, it's right now it's 1:05 Eastern, so 5 more minutes on the boot camp, then we got to call that part, but you still have the bonus for the first 75, so just wanted to kind of let you guys know that. No, I think that the key is on the cancels is, one, you get a lot of setups that don't end up triggering just based upon price. Price doesn't move through that. And then two, the cancellation is another really key thing, because I know when I've been trading the trend jumper, those rules that Troy's come up with have saved me several times here, even recently, where the trade canceled based upon his rule. I take my trade off, I see a trigger, and then it ends up stopping out. I'm like, oh, awesome. So that's, I guess, Troy, that's probably why you came up with that rule.
Yeah, and they're simple. I mean, the whole idea was that I wanted this to be very few, there to be very few moving parts. It's one of the criticisms about the SST, as successful as that's been for so long and still is, a lot of moving parts. And so this one is the total opposite. That's kind of what I was after.
Great. I wanted to just put on the screen. So we'll continue the boot camp bonus for about another 4 minutes, $397 value. Take advantage of that. I mean, it's really worth it, especially if you're in the beginner to intermediate phase. I mean, this is going to be great for you. If you're in the advanced side of it, still everybody has told us they've learned something out of this course, but, regardless, I think, there's value there. And then obviously when we get to the first 75, which we'll kind of continue on here for a little longer, I'm sure this will go here the next, probably 10, 15 minutes. The value, you've got the coaching call, we double the time in the Owners Club, which means double the live time, and you get the $300 rebate. So take advantage of that as well to keep this at that $997 price point. So Sean's he goes, I'm sure this is a common question. What kind of capital do you need to start with? I'll answer it, and then if TJ wants to add to it. I would typically say for a futures trader, 5,000 is probably a good number, because you can definitely trade things like the Dow E-mini, the NASDAQ E-mini, the S&P E-mini relatively safely, in that 2%-ish range that Troy was talking about. You can definitely do that. In Forex, you can start with $1,000. I mean, you're going to have to, like Troy's mentioning, think about using minis and even maybe micros, but it's definitely doable. The idea, again, remember my 90 to 180 days, you got to build that number up, right? I mean, you won't have, right, a full-time income starting with $1,000. But the fact is you can build and grow your positions and not work any harder when you trade 2, 3, 4, 5 contracts. You work 0 extra minutes. So I don't know anything else you want to add to that, Troy?
Well, I will add this. We were showing on our recent road show when we were on the road at these various cities, meeting a lot of the members, that we showed an example where if you started with just $7,500 and you used one of the PTU plans, and you could apply that to Trend Jumper also. One of the strategies was netting about $80 per contract per day, and that's taking in all losses, all wins. That was the net. And we showed that after 2 years of trading that strategy, you were able to derive a $10,000 a month income, and you would have grown your capital to, I forget what it was, close to $100,000 or something like that. And in 5 years, it was over $250,000 in capital. You paid yourself over $400,000+ in income, and that was just a very modest plan with just $7,500 starting capital.
Yeah, I think even more, $80 a day, right? I mean, just having that patience to grow at $80 a day can lead to the numbers that you're mentioning, and I think that's the power of this. Let me see. Anthony wants to know, just give him a few bullet points of differences with Trend Jumper versus SST.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and why don't I tell you what it has in common, because that's easier. They're both dynamic, so they adjust to the market, and when you have a plus sign above the dotted line, in the case of the SST, it's yellow because it's a slightly different indicator, but that means you go long. Plus sign below means you go short, and that's it. I mean, that's all it has in common. Everything else is completely different.
I think also you've mentioned a lot just the simplicity and the fact that you're not changing a lot of things to adapt it to various markets.
Exactly. SST requires a little more attention, and there's more moving parts, which means that certain things can, there's more things that can break down versus the Trend Jumper, which is, I put it on this chart, I put it on that chart, I put it on another chart. I haven't changed a darn thing on any of those charts. I just trade it the exact same way. Also, I could start, because of my crazy schedule, I sometimes start trading later in the session. And I know I could just put a Trend Jumper chart on there, and I'm going to have numerous opportunities to get positive. I mean, even if you just look at today, right now, in live time, at this very moment, you will see if you had started trading even the E-minis, where it's just a bank holiday, you would have been able to end up quite positive.
A few other questions here. So just a couple of questions on price and things of that nature. I can guarantee you one thing that's not going to happen is the price is not going to go down ever from where we're at right now, and the prices are going to go up. We really think this should be sold at $19.97. That's the fair price for it. So it is a pretty excellent opportunity if you're ready to go now. When we release this again, which obviously we're here in November, so it's probably not going to be until early 2013. It's likely going to come at a higher price point, and obviously you guys get the family discount that we're offering here, that additional $300. So just keep that in mind when you think about what this can do for you overall. Rick is asking, do you use Renko? Right now we're focused on tick bars, which you saw mostly on the day trading side. Obviously some daily time intervals for the swing trading, and Troy also showed you some range bars on some markets as well. You could definitely consider using Renko, but at this point, Renko is different. There's just things you have to know about Renko to do it properly. I think there's more than enough on range, which is going to be very similar to you, to Renko, Rick, or tick. That's where the focus will likely be. Troy, Linda's asking, how does it work with choppiness? What do you typically experience?
Well, I think it does a great job of avoiding a lot of the trades that happen in choppy action. I mean, you do need to apply some smart, the 5% art side, where you just make a 1 or 2 or 3 tick adjustment around a swing level, which I think is obvious, and we all know. I mean, we teach that with all the strategies, and so that hasn't changed. Little key level adjustments, which we teach in training. But I mean, if you look back at the slides we were looking at, I made a point to point out how many trades did not trigger in, and that, you know, they showed up on the chart but ended up canceling, and they were all avoided losses. It does really well. I mean, we see it with the higher winning percentages, and the metrics across the board are just higher in general than what we've seen with a lot of the other strategies.
Troy, I have a question on the S&P mini. Maybe if you could pull the chart up and let me know when you're ready, and I'll hand it off to you. Then you can just hand it back. We'll try to do that quickly, but just so Rick can see S&P, what it visually might look like on that market. IE is saying heating oil can be thinly traded, lots of slippage in real life, and I can tell you my personal experience on HO and RB, unleaded gas. I allow up to 4 ticks of slip on those markets because typically the targets tend to be 60, 80, 100 ticks. So I don't mind allowing, 2-3 ticks of slip to make sure I get filled. Other markets like the Russell Mini and crude oil, the most I'll allow is 1 tick. But they're more expensive per tick, $10 per tick versus $4 per tick. So there's no reason you just don't allow a bit more for your execution on markets that have a little wider bid-ask spread. But you don't need to allow anything like 10 or 12 or 15 ticks by any means.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. And I am ready to show the S&P.
Okay, yeah, I'll just hand it over to you real quick here.
All right, so I mean, I like the 2000 tick. You could look at other time frames too. You can see there's just not a lot of action today. I mean, you start at 8:30 and you only got, from here to here basically. Was there a specific question?
No, he just wants to see it. So just, maybe explain a trade or two, or just kind of show visually how it. I mean, I think it's mostly just visually to see that it's very similar to the other markets. Yeah,
it totally is. And it started out like the example that we saw. There was actually 2 small losses. This one here, it did just come and trigger in. And I guess the question is whether you would have gotten filled because you didn't trade through that price. So it could be you didn't even get filled there. But if you did, it would have been a loser. This one also, 2 small losses, okay? But then you would have had this winner. This was a non-trade. You would have had a real small little trade here, and then you would have ended up with this, what's going on right now. Again, this is on a day that I just can't recommend trading. It's a bank holiday. You can see that there's just hardly any action at all. You go back on another session and you see like 10 times as many bars. But even so, it's able to probably eke out a winning session. So, and that's just not changing one setting. That's the exact same everything. And I think with the S&P, you probably need to treat it with a special approach because of the fact you could hit targets and hit entries and hit stops, and you don't know if you don't get filled. I mean, you have to trade it live to know. And chances are you're sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting to get filled. It's just kind of goes with the territory with the S&P.
Yeah, I mean, that's just something that S&P traders have to understand. If you trade the S&P, I mean, we're talking about there could be thousands of people, on the bid ask, and you're just in line to get filled. And if it doesn't go through that price, you may or may not get executed. And that's the case with every market, but more so on the S&P. I mean, typically, like Troy showed you earlier, when the crude touched this price, you filled. It's not a guarantee. But I can tell you most of the time on most of the markets I trade, I get filled when the market hits the price. It's not always. I mean, if it goes through, you're always going to get filled. But when you have so much competition on either side of the bid ask on the S&P, you will have a little bit of that if it peaks at a certain number. Troy, I don't know if Brian's still on the questions with the Ninja 7 64-bit. Brian, if you're on, let me know on that, or maybe just answer that question. That came through, it looks like. Mine, it says 11:44. Maybe your time is different.
Yeah, Mark, we'll have a special setup for Ninja 64-bit. I know this mic isn't the greatest, but we will be able to support that, yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Brian. Mary Jean, yeah, on the 1000K Forex account, I think you have to use micros for end of day, because you got to try to keep that risk controllable. So it's going to be difficult to trade enough of those pairs at a mini, but you can definitely make sure if you fund at a broker that will do micros, then that is something that you can do. Bruno, on PTU, trend jumper versus Keltner bells, again, I think almost like SST, they're so different. other than they trade similar markets on the Forex side. One of the great things here in Trend Jumper is the fact that we use, obviously, the daily charts. That's kind of a one-time 24-hour check. Keltner Bells, it's more of a two-time 24-hour check, and you're using Renko and range, where you're, on the Forex that we've showed you here, you're using daily. Just to point out, you can also day trade the Forex with the Trend Jumper. The best markets usually for that tend to be the Euro-US due to the narrow bid-ask and the Euro-Yen. But understand, and you guys know this a little bit with Forex, sometimes the market gets so sideways, even during the prime time sessions, that it has the same win-loss ratio, but maybe the targets aren't always as large as you'd like them to be. And then you've got spread on top of that. So, if you have a 10 pip target and it hits, 80% of the time, that's great, but then you're going to give back, 1-2 pips on the spread. So it's not always our favorite approach to day trading, but it's very doable. And you can be maybe a little more selective when you day trade the Forex with this and only take the trades that have the bigger reward situations or do more trailing and things of that nature. Do you guys use Trend Jumper with natural gas? I mean, definitely you can use natural gas. He also asked about gold. I don't know, what are your thoughts on the gold market, Troy?
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with gold, but I think it would probably do okay with the right trade plan, and it does work quite nicely with natural gas.
Yeah, I would say typically with gold, probably about an 820 New York start. Maybe more of the power quitting one, just because gold can get kind of narrow and choppy through some stretches. So that would probably be my recommendation there. This type of strategy, Trend Jumper, is probably going to be more ideal to work on a market like gold, because we are looking for those quick hits. And if you're familiar with gold, it doesn't trend that great intraday. It does on some days, but a lot of times it's very choppy with big, the candles have big wicks and big tails. It means it's kind of jittery. But that's one thing that Trend Jumper handles very well. So, like Troy mentions, with a little bit of care, I think that's a market can definitely work for you. And there's tons of volume, so you have that going for you.
And I definitely like what I see with natural gas.
Yeah, definitely. I had a question. I was typing in the answer here, but Harry was asking how did some people trade before the public release, and we had live beta testers. So we had a group of people that we wanted to put it through its paces, trade it live, help us debug any of the software. So we had a group doing that. Will Trend Jumper work on Ninja? Definitely. I think we got that all answered. Works on TradeStation and Ninja. Let me see what else we've got here. Phone numbers. Okay, those are on the screen. Linda, as long as you ordered early, which because I see this question came through before the link came up, so you're in the 25. Obviously, we're past the 25, but we still have the 75. I think I'll have to ask and see from Corey where we are on the count on that, because we're probably getting pretty close. Money back guarantee we talked about. Other costs involved like data feeds. Any costs that you have with your broker, the exchanges, etc., are, I'll say, basically between you and them. The cool thing is these days there's a lot of free data. With TradeStation, for instance, if you just fund and trade, you basically get most of the data. Well, the data is free. Even the exchanges these days are either free or sometimes at least low cost. There's various packages now that have gotten a lot more aggressive. But certainly anything like that is, depends on how you set up with TradeStation or Ninja. The good news for us is that costs today versus even a year ago have come down quite a bit. So,
yeah, I mean, a lot.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, okay, that question already got answered. Does Trend Jumper get a lot of stop and reverse moves? This is from Joe.
No, it doesn't. Very few, actually. I mean, it's rare. I mean, we saw one today. I showed you in crude oil, and that might have been the only one all week. There might have been one other, but yeah, it's definitely rare. It's not like the SST, which could be quite common. This is far less common.
Thanks, Troy. Ben asked, will we have immediate access to the indicators and training digitally? So, no, we're going to ship you hard copy So once you get that, then you'll be able to go ahead and download and install your indicators. In the meantime, there's, well, hopefully if you're in the first 25, well, we went over 25 on it, but you'll have the boot camp training right away, and Troy will post some videos just to kind of, let you know how things are going recently. But once you get the course, you'll download the indicators, you'll go to the video-based training, and then you should start to attend the live rooms at that time. So you'll all be up and running, in probably a couple weeks, no more than that, between getting the course, going through the videos, installing your indicators, attending live rooms. I mean, we get this up and running and get your learning curve as brief as we can make it. It won't be long that you'll be in there taking your trades. Okay, let me see what else we've got. All right, we've answered the SST questions, I think. Okay, Nick, got your comment there. That's fine. Let's see. Yeah, can the backtester? Yeah, the Ultimate Trade Analyzer can definitely be used for Trend Jumper. So. Okay, Dennis, I'm not sure what your question was. I hope I didn't miss it. You said, if I can make it work, I'll be very happy to subscribe for all your products. Many thanks again to you all. So if I missed the question, I apologize. What kind of capital? I think we've answered that one pretty good. Any plans to add daily trade room with Trend Jumper? Not at this point, though. We are making available to you the opportunity to add additional days of the live room. With the Trend Jumper, once you go ahead and join. So if you want to add some more days besides the 2, you'll have the opportunity to double that. So you'll have lots of exposure to the Trend Jumper that way. Okay, let's see what else. As a new trader, which market would you recommend to start with? Well, if you want to day trade, Mike, I think probably a great place to start would be something like the Dow E-mini futures. It's not erratic and hyper crazy, and you can start with a controlled amount of money, and it's easier to understand because it trades in 1-point increments. Sometimes the decimals get people a little bit thrown. So I guess if I was to say what would be a safe, smart market on the day trading side to start with, I would probably say the Dow E-mini. I don't know if you have any other suggestion on that, Troy.
No, I think that's a really good one. I mean, I guess the NASDAQ E-mini is also worth considering.
Definitely.
It does very well.
Okay, price, I think we already talked about. Yeah, sorry, to Jesus, no other discounts. This is as low as we're going to go for this ever at this point. I can say the line in the sand, I'm sure of it. Automated strategy, this is something that we're considering down the road. It'll be part of if we do it, the overall university. So if we do make some kind of automated type thing available, you would need to move into the university for sure, because it requires a lot of training. Without getting into all the details, as much as automation is great and it's cool and it's exciting and people always see the upside to it, there's a lot of things you need to learn and understand to successfully automate trading. As you know, if automated trading was so easy, right, everybody'd be doing it, and they're not. Or people that are don't make any money. So there are many, many things over the years that I've learned that become the make or break between that working, and that needs a lot more training. So yes, I do see that as being part of the equation. But it's going to be something that'll be an add-on later on and will require more training for sure. Any discount for existing PTU subscribers? Well, Chin, if you're in Premier Trader University, you already get the Trend Jumper. So I guess the discount is 100%. So we decided to make it available to you for free. So if you're in PTU, you already get it. Discount for current NetPicks customers. This is the discount since this is a family-only release. So the $9.97 includes everything all in. Live calls, the days, that'll be in the Owners Club. We're still kind of working on that on our scheduling. So we'll kind of have that announced once we start the live rooms. We'll start them once we know people have the course and have installed the indicators. So it won't start immediately. It'll start once we kind of get through that process. Equities can be traded. Obviously, we're not really going to have trade plans in this release for stocks, but I think I've mentioned a few times in the answers, you certainly can chart and trade anything you want to trade. You don't have to just focus in on the markets we show you. Again, like Troy has said, he's not doing a lot of dial turning, so there's nothing that's going to stop you from pulling up a market that we haven't even gone around to yet. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and look at it. Do a little back testing. See if it works. It might really surprise you. You may just need to modify the the tick size or the range bar size, but there's no reason any market on the move wouldn't work. Trading binary options, Gene, you can use this to get great direction, great target projections, so you can use it for all that. If you then want to take that information and trade the binaries, that's something you can do. We're obviously not doing training here on binary options, but you can see this is very much directional based. Okay, let me see what else. We're going to ship to you, we use a professional fulfillment company, so we get a lot of orders obviously today. Those will be going out over the next, couple days, and then it's just really the time it takes to get to you. There are some U.S. holidays next week with Thanksgiving, but, sometime in there is when you should get it, and we'll have everybody up and running as soon thereafter as we can. Theo says, Troy, do you follow blindly the entry signals, or are there other filters you use before entering?
No, I pretty much follow them, but I'll make a 1 or 2 tick adjustment around key levels on a common normal basis. I mean, I just do that religiously.
Yeah, we teach you some of that. Some of you are probably familiar with it from our other systems, but key level adjustments, chart level adjustments. So those are small, but they do matter on certain markets. So the good news, I think, is you can pretty much blindly follow it. And then use a little bit of training to learn what to do in those couple situations. And that's the whole idea with the live rooms. There's no better place to get that part of the equation than seeing a trade come up on the Russell E-mini that Troy makes a 1 tick adjustment and tells you why. So
there's one other thing that's cool about this strategy is that it really teaches you how to read one single chart and get the greater scope and really put things into context. I mean, there is, I guess, one filter I will use if it's a strong trend where I won't take a trade in the opposite direction. But again, that's something I cover in training.
Question from Paul. Can we pay in installments? Because the price point that we're at, we're not doing any installments at this time. When the price goes up next to release is usually when we'll do some type of payment plan. So sorry about that, Paul. Not this time anyway. I think I've signed up but have not received confirmation from Jonathan. So as long as you went through and processed, you will get a confirmation email and get going. So I'm not aware of any issues. If for some reason something doesn't happen that should, I have up on the screen the email address or contact info. We also work the live chat at our website, Premier Trader University. So you'll have access to that. Okay, so I'm just reading through some questions. This is why I stopped for a minute. Okay, I think we defined the difference between Keltner bells and PTU. Okay, Sean, great. So you're on Keltner bells working well for you. Good to see. Bruno, I think I've got you covered. I mean, I'm going back on questions, so if for some reason no, ask a more current question and I'll get to it here in a moment, but I think we covered that. How do you know what markets to trade if you're new? So obviously, I think we answered that a little bit, and we'll certainly help you. Don't forget you get a private one-on-one call if you're, well, at this point, I think we're over the 75, but as long as we keep talking, we will make that bonus available to you. Take advantage of that 1-hour call with the coach and go through your situation privately. Hey, here's my account size. Here's the time of day or night I'm available. Where should I start market-wise? That might be a good way to use that hour. Let's see, do I have to change chart momentum bars each month with trend jumper? Well, Joe, most of the plans are tick, so in that case, you're not going to be changing anything. We really pretty much stick to the same tick size. If Troy is running a certain market with some momentum bars and he changes it, you'll see that in the live room. He'll let you know.
And then again, the beauty of trend jumper is you put it on a chart. Just take a look. I mean, you'll see the trades. I mean, it's just right there. You don't have to change anything.
Okay, Ross was having a problem with the URL, but then you followed up and said it's working now. Good to see. Sometimes when there's a bunch of people at once, you know how it is. The internet there gets a little confused on the routing, but it should be good now. Let's see, will the trend jumper be programmed so the stops will move visual, and what target should be taken on each market like the SST? Well, we teach you the rules in the training on how to move the stops. if we release later on some type of advanced calculator, it may be part of the actual university because it'll require some additional training. But the way that I've seen Troy teach it, right, Troy, I don't think it's all that difficult on the trailing, right, the way you do it.
No, I mean, it's really simple. It really is. I mean, we kind of made a conscious decision just to come out with it as simple as it is because, sometimes more dots on the chart could actually be confusing.
Very true. Richard says, how do we get the TradeStation rebates with a new account? So I believe the answer on that is there's a special link and a code that you'll use. Brian, if you're still with us, if you want to answer that any further, but I believe that's the way that's done.
You want me to answer that, Mark?
Yeah, go ahead. You might as well.
Yeah. Once you sign up, you're going to get information with a special code that you will give to TradeStation. It's also going to contain the contact at TradeStation that you need to speak with. There is a specific person there that we work with. And then also do keep in mind, I know that I've answered this question in the text a number of times, it does require a new account with TradeStation. So if you're an existing TradeStation customer, it just means you'll need to set up a new Forex account or a new a stock and options account or a new futures account. Even if you have a futures account, you can set up a new one. So it does require that.
And you could even close the old one once you get the new one open. You don't have to have them both open.
Right.
Nick was saying, what is your average tick loss on a losing trade when day trading futures? Obviously, Nick, that's going to depend on the market because, if it's RB, it might be, 80 ticks or 60 ticks or 40 ticks because it's, the way that it trades, and on the S&P it could be 4. So it's going to really depend. I think the key is, like TJ was mentioning, you've got that very positive reward to risk ratio going for you, out of the gate. So, the average stop should be about 50% of the average gain.
Definitely depends on the market.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is if you remember back a bit to the chart, it's that setup bar. It's really basically the size of the setup bar plus, a couple ticks above and below. So that's another really nice thing. It's not like we're going back to some, swing low way further down that makes this big risk. I mean, it's literally, we're expecting this trampoline effect. So, we try to keep that risk, Troy keeps it to basically the setup bar. So it's kept as low as almost, anything I've seen as far as the stop goes.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at crude oil, it's probably about 14 ticks. And on the Russell, I think it's around 12 to 13 ticks for the average loss.
Yeah. Just reading through a little bit. What to do about unables on targets from Jonathan. I don't know what that means. Do you, Troy? Unables on targets?
Unables. No, I don't.
Okay, so Jonathan, maybe explain to us a bit more.
Maybe not getting filled, or?
I don't know. We'll let him explain it. I'm not sure. We'll use Trend Jumper for YM and Q, yes. And we'll give you the tick that you should use for those.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, I think they work really well with this strategy. Even today, a day where you shouldn't even be trading, I mean, they all ended up quite positive.
Cliff is asking, can corn, futures be traded? I haven't looked at corn in a while. I don't know if you have. I've looked at soybeans and wheat, but
I haven't looked at it in a while, but the last time I looked at it, it looked great. I think it's just a matter of determining the right time frame. But yeah, I mean, corn is another good mover. I like wheat so much, and I don't really feel the need to trade more than one grain, but I don't see why you couldn't trade corn. Just looking at a random chart with the exact same thing as wheat here, yeah, it looks pretty darn good.
Let's see, Livu, I hope I didn't say your name wrong. Is it possible to get it with bonuses in 1 month time? We always try to put together a bonus package, so next time we release, which I'm not sure when that is, maybe in January, but the price will be higher. I'm not saying we're going to go all the way up to the $19.97, but it'll be higher, and we have to honor that at the time to respect the people who get in this time. at the lower price. But certainly we'll always try to put together for you a nice little bonus package, even with a future release. Is there a monthly fee to add 2 extra days? Nick, well, there is. We're actually giving you, once you add on or you purchase the trend jumper, you'll be offered the opportunity to add the additional 2 days, I think, in a one-time. I personally don't even know how much that was set out, but it's pretty reasonable. So you should see that on the checkout. If you didn't or you missed it or something, you want to change your mind on that, just contact us. Will you be able to simultaneously use TradeStation and Ninja? I don't think we get that situation too often. We get the question, I have a laptop, I have a desktop, and that's never a problem. If there's a real reason that you are using both platforms, then yes, we'll work with you on the licensing on that. It is licensed to just you, so it has to be just for your use. But certainly if you travel and you want to put it on a laptop and you want to put it on a desktop, then we'll make sure the licensing is set up and the security is set up so you can do that. Is it simple for us, excuse me, to develop our own trading plans for other markets and timeframes? That's from Gabriel. What do you think on that, Troy? I mean, I'd say relatively yes, but what's your answer?
I think it's super simple because you don't change anything. It's just coming up with the best time to start and the best time to stop and what kind of quitting goals you have on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I just randomly looked at a corn chart with a 377 tick and, look at any old day, and it's hard to find a day where you couldn't quit positive. I mean, they exist, but even someone was asking about a choppy market. I mean, even on choppy sessions, it seems to find a way to get positive or at least keep the losses small. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to develop trade plans, I guess, is the bottom line.
Right. Justin has a question. He's been through several other companies' systems and just frustrated, doesn't want to feel like he just got sold again. I like your approach. How can I fix a damaged mental game? It's a great question, Justin, and I completely understand, where you're coming from. I know it's a big decision. I think that's partly the reason we've got the 45-day guarantee to make it risk-free. I do ask you to work at it, of course, because I don't really need people on this who are just going to buy and return, because I know if you buy and try, you won't return. So that's the only condition, but that's one thing I would tell you. The other thing is, we showed you a couple of testimonials. We have people trading this live in the markets already, and you saw from a couple people getting to the point of full-time income live. So that's something else that should really stand out to you. And the fact is, myself, Troy, Brian, you've heard our three voices. We all trade live in the market. I can guarantee all of us traded live in the markets last week. I mean, we do as much as we can. Obviously, when we have webinars like this, this is always our priority. Our customers are always our priority. So we trade when we can, but we're in there, with you. So we try to make it risk-free with a guarantee, but I realize at some point there is going to be a leap of faith. But I mean, I hope you've seen enough to know that this is not one of those high-risk leaps of faith, and we're not trying to sell you probably what you've been sold in the past: get rich quick, 100% winners, you can't lose. I mean, that's not what we're about at all. This is about a real, developing a real trading business.
Mark, I'd like to add something. The first post in the Owners Club has a step-by-step getting started approach that's really sensible. It really works, and all you have to do is follow it. And, you will put yourself in the highest likelihood position for success. Trading's not easy. We all know that. It looks simple, but when you're at the right edge of the chart, you got to deal with all your human emotions and all the other factors that no system, doesn't matter what you trade, you still got to face that. You have to be able to deal with that too. And so some of the getting started points that are in the Owners Club will help straighten all that out if you just follow it step by step. And then lean on the 45-day guarantee, and then get TradeStation to pay for it for you anyway. I mean, and hopefully we've been able to build enough trust. I mean, I still call live trades in a live trade room, and this system is a result of that 5-year experience, as well as a result of my experience in developing and using the SST for 2.5 years. So the Trend Jumper has come from a pretty solid background. I mean, it's designed to work. got 100% confidence in it. I've been showing random charts on the very current day every single time I show it, and it just continues to ring the register. So that's my take on that.
Raymond's saying, I was in the first PTU university class. Can I get the Trend Jumper package? I mean, just log into the Owners Club. You'll see the Trend Jumper training and links, and the answer to that is yes. Are there specific time frames on each market? Yes, for Anthony. Do you, from Joe, publish profit factors, win percent, average win, average loss, all that kind of stuff? There's a lot on PTU, trendjumper.com if you wanted to go there. Troy's been posting lots of results and summaries. Obviously, there's 1,000 different ways we can come up with numbers, so we have to call it somewhere and have some limits to what we can provide, but there's quite a bit there, Joe. Future updates, certainly if we update the system or there's some bug fix or anything like that, Harry, you will get that. You're definitely one of the 75 if you ordered, and we're still talking here. We went ahead and pushed it beyond the 75. The 25 stopped at the time that I gave you. That was at, was it 110, I believe. TradeStation works with all markets, just about. I mean, certainly all Forex, futures, etc. There's, there may be, if you're talking about some, Australian stock market, they don't have that data, or some of the Asian markets, etc. But definitely, the Eurex, the European exchange, Forex, all these futures markets we're talking about, you'll be able to trade with TradeStation. Not as familiar with Forex. I assume you can take advantage of the software after ordering. I assume, can I take advantage of this software after ordering? Okay, so I think, Olivia, what you're asking, you're going to have a little bit more of a learning curve. If you haven't traded before, your learning curve will be longer. I would say somebody who's traded a little bit, you can be, in under 30 days. If you've never traded before, you have to learn platforms, symbols. It's going to be a little bit longer learning curve for you. It's just the way it is. But, when you're trying to learn a profession for life, people go to 4-year university and sometimes take 10 years. So, but you may need another month or so, I would imagine, beyond what somebody with some experience is going to need. I don't have NinjaTrader set up. I don't think, Troy, you do either. So as far as what it looks like, if you can just visualize NinjaTrader, I guess the same way. I don't really have it running on there. So it's going to still have the plus sign, the projected targets, the stop. It's really going to be identical, other than the visual of how NinjaTrader looks. Always visually looks a little bit different than TradeStation. Copper is definitely a market HG that can work. I find copper to be a little bit like gold in a way. I mean, it gets a little streaky at times, but I've traded some HG, and I don't see any reason why. We have to kind of focus in on a good tick time frame, a range time frame, but that's kind of key. Gordon, results always have to be hypothetical, because even if I give you I show you an exact trade that we took with an exact live result, it always has to be called legally hypothetical, because we can't guarantee that you would have taken that trade, executed on that trade, filled on that trade. So live or simulated or anything else is always hypothetical in this business. That's just the nature of how it has to be, and we work under those regulations. Let's see, John says, no, I mean, I would totally disagree. Sounds like trend jumper stops end up in the same place as everybody else's. Institutional monies can see where the stops are, clip those out. I completely disagree with that. On futures, I have not been the victim. I know a lot of people whine about this, of stop hunting and all this sort of thing. I don't see that happening at all. There's so much volume. Nobody cares about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contracts at a price. Now, I will grant you a little bit on Forex. Forex can be a slippery slope on day trading in particular, especially if you're not using the most credible brokers, because there is no centralized clearing. There's no centralized one exchange. So, John, I would say Forex, I'm with you a little bit. You got to be careful. On futures, I just don't see it. I mean, what about you, Troy?
No, I totally agree. I mean, there's people buying and selling at every single price point on the chart, and some people are trading one time frame, some people are trading other time frames. I mean, it's a very liquid market that we're trading. So, yeah, I don't see it either. These stops are placed at a strategic place based on that trade setup that happens immediately in live time at the right edge of the chart, based on a certain situation. And we try to jump off of it and get out of the way with our profits. And if we lose a lot less than the amount we're trying to get. And that's why it's so successful.
I think the other thing is we're not trying to like say, oh, here's the high of the day. We're going to take a breakout above the high of the day or breakout below the low of the day, you know, where everybody's aware of those levels. Our entries, our exits almost have nothing to do with anything, meaning there's no reason that they mean anything, you know, on a big level to somebody. So I think you should be aware of those levels. That's true, but that's not driven by where we're getting in or getting out. Will PTU people, so current university folks, have access to the trade room with Troy? Yes, I mean, we're going to basically be working to unify the PTU live room, so you'll have Trend Jumper in there and PTU2 really all at the same time. Is 16-bit Ninja better than 64? I don't think it's a question of better. I mean, I'll let Brian jump in if there's something I'm not aware of. I think it's just a compatibility thing. Will the Trend Jumper, okay, we already answered that question on the stops. I'm in listen-only mode. I don't really know, Ricardo, why you're not seeing. You should have seen everything, all the slides, the charts, etc. We are running this again tonight, 6 p.m. New York time. Is that right, Troy? At 3 o'clock?
6 p.m. my time?
New York time. Is it? What time is the evening?
I gotta check, Mark.
Yeah.
I thought it was 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, New York.
Oh, yeah, okay, then yes.
Yeah, so I think 6 p.m. New York, so you could always come back and attend live if you wanted to do that again, Ricardo. Sorry about that.
I'm just sitting here watching some winning copper trades. I was curious of that market, and even though it was a holiday,
yeah,
kicked butt today.
Sometimes I like it better than gold. It's not quite as noisy as gold. It moves very, very similar kind of attitude about it, but it tends not to be as noisy. So I do like that market. The Owners Club doesn't have any training. That's from Donald. Well, all the Trend Jumper training is coming in a hard product. So you're going to get an actual product delivered to your door with all the training. The boot camp is loaded there. I think maybe Brian's put in the note on that, but some of you may be aware, at NetPicks.com, we had your classic internet denial service attack over the weekend. So it's still all being propagated again and repaired. So anything, if there's any link that doesn't work or anything like that, it'll be probably later today, and that'll be going. But the actual Trend Jumper training, you're going to get a real physical course on it. So that's for Donald. Let me see what else we've got. I have an account on TradeStation. You can definitely use that account, Theo. Absolutely ready to roll. But we're just saying if you want to do the tuition reimbursement, that's a TradeStation requirement. They only set it up on a new account with them. That's how they do it. So we're just trying to tell you how to get around that if you've already got a TradeStation account. So
it might be a little hassle to open up a new account, but it's well worth it because of all the money you save, and you end up getting the Trend Jumper, bought for you by TradeStation. So even though it's a hassle to open up the account, I would recommend doing it anyway.
Yeah, as $1,000, if it's worth your time for $1,000, the hassle, then that's the way I'd look at it. If you're placing the trades anyway with them, why not let them give you a little bit of money back on every trade? That's the way I look at it. Yeah. Keith was saying, as a NinjaTrader advocate, which would agree, it's a great platform. You can make NinjaTrader charts look the same as TradeStation, and that's true. You can definitely change backgrounds and everything else to where they'll look very, very similar. I mean, they are two different pieces of software, but they're both after doing the same thing. So, and we're definitely been fans of both for many years. Who are some FX brokers that you guys use? I mean, well, you have to understand, I don't know, Steve, if you're in the US or Europe. If you're outside the US, you probably have better choices than we have because we have all kinds of regulations here in the US for the brokers that really have done nothing. They haven't made the market any better because they never did centralized. They just made it harder on us. They took away leverage, hedging, first in, first out. It's just, it's just one of those things that they meant to help the individual and end up hurting the individual. So it's a different answer outside the U.S. But, we have definitely people that use brokers like Oanda. Certainly some of the ones that you hear about here a lot, FXDD. I like trading Forex a lot of times at Interactive Brokers. It's not the same, you don't use minis, but you can definitely use fractions of a full-sized, through their Ideal Pro platform, and, you can trust them impeccably. So I don't know, anybody else you wanted to add to that mix, Troy?
Well, Wanda, I would say I like them. I like Thinkorswim, actually, and I agree with you with Interactive Brokers, too. They're great.
What time frame were you looking at on copper? Ross wants to know.
You know, I just pulled up a random 233 tick chart. Not sure if that's the right time frame on a day-to-day basis, but just looking at what I see here, and you know, winner, just did really well. I don't even know what the start time is. There were a lot of great trades in the pre-market.
Yeah, it's probably another good one to start at, you know, 8:20 or possibly even 9 o'clock Eastern, one of those two.
Yeah, so did great today, and it's in a winning trade even now as we speak.
There you go, Ross. So and think or swim, go Canada. He's right. I mean, there's home base in both cases. You're right on that. Terry, you know, basically the answer to that would be yes. I think that's going to be right in the range that you're looking for as far as on crude. So if you prefer that over tick bars, I definitely can see that. I signed up for Lifetime Owners Club but don't have access to it. I'm not sure what that means, Donald. You should have access to the Owners Club for the Trend Jumper, not for PTU, but for Trend Jumper. Again, if you have any issues or something's not working the way it should, you just got to contact us. We'll sort through it and get you worked out. Troy, I think it's a good time to call it at this point. We've been going on almost 2 hours, which is amazing, and a lot of people hung in.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I think we got to most of the questions. If we missed one, please, by all means, shoot us an email, give us a call, go on the online chat. We're here to answer everything you have. We'll be doing this again this evening. I think we settled on the time. So actually, Corey gave me a link. I'll put the link out here in case you guys came late. Or do you just want to be entertained by us once again? You know, absolutely come again if you want. So there's a link there if you want to sign up for that. And let me see if there's any other final questions before we let everybody go. You know, software upgrades, you know, Jeff, anything that, you know, if you're in the Owners Club and, you know, obviously you need to be part of that to, you know, keep going to the live rooms and seeing additional training. But certainly if we upgrade the software or something like that with a bug fix or anything, you'll get that. If we come out with a high-end advanced calculator, like I said, that may be part of the university, and that would require that you enroll in that. But you're going to have everything you need to trade this successfully based upon what you've seen today, for sure. Mary Jean, thanks. Appreciate it. Ross, thank you. Appreciate that. Welcome aboard as well. Otto, to you on performance. I think Troy's made it pretty clear on this versus SST. It's just the simplicity and the fact that, you know, you don't have to make a lot of modifications and adjustments market to market. So Justin, appreciate that comment. Jeff as well, thank you. Olivia, thank you as well. And Troy, thanks a lot. I appreciate all the great information in the demo, and actually I appreciate you putting together Trend Jumper more than anything. So thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you too for all your interest, everybody.
Great, thanks to Linda, Theo. We got a bunch of people on as well, so thank you guys. And Brian as well, I know you're out on our roadshow. Brian's going to be out in Arizona today and tomorrow, then heading over to the Traders Expo. If you guys are in the Traders Expo, you know, go to the site and maybe you can come join us for the live event that we have there. And then I think they're going to, oh my God, I'm blanking out, Orange County as well. So those are the next several days, so to speak. So anyway, just letting you guys know. All right, take care, everybody. Thanks, Troy.
Bye-bye.